You ready?
You can set us free. I can take rest, cause the living God is living in my chest. Every day I wake up feeling blessed, and even if I don't, I see it as a test. Cause I was lost until you found me.
Welcome to another episode of Roots and Revelation. I have a guest with me. Her name is Jada.
Hello.
And it ain't Jada Smith. Okay.
Almost.
Let's get that straight. So you better stop it. Don't start, Jada. Okay, don't start.
I'm gonna behave.
Should we cut off this camera and give you some rules? All right. So today we're here to talk about, you guys, we're here to talk about a preacher's kid. I was should I say that I was really trying to figure out who I can talk to. Now, I thought about my own kid, but I was like, I don't know how that's going to go. And I can't keep stopping and starting to think. I don't know how that's going to go. So I said, who could I get? And like a lot of people like rolled around in my head and did, one day you came to rehearsal and I was like, Jada, I could get Jada.
It was like a light bulb.
Yes, I could speak to Jada. Yes. And so when I was preparing for this, a thought came to me. I remember when I was in my church, when I first got to know Christ, and I was growing up in God, and I was reckless with my mouth, had very little coof about me. I was a person that I felt like I was a person that just keep it real, and I say what was on my mind. Mm-hmm. And though I had a heart for God, I didn't always do things right, and in my expression of wanting to do right and also keep it real, that I erred in a lot of different ways. And I remember one time when I think I got angry with my first lady. And I felt what I felt about certain things in the ministry, right? But I always had a guard on. If somebody come to me, I'm just going to say what needs to be said. You know what I mean? And so it was a time, I believe it was after service. And I can't remember exactly what happened, but it was a big blow up. And the big blow up, of course, was involving me and the first lady. And I can just honestly say that I disrespect her in front of everybody. And although I think people agreed with what I said, I was just out of order, And I could remember to this day that her children was watching, like her children, and they was like grown adults. They was watching, and I know like the personality of both of them. I know one of them could have just bopped my head, could have just punched me in my face. But because of the way they were taught, and I guess they also understood ministry, that these things would happen, that I believe, not that they weren't hurt and not that they weren't angry. I think they was just practicing restraint from what I did. And because I'm also a person of, I know what I did was wrong. By the time I made it home, I called First Lady on the phone and I was apologizing. I was in tears. I apologized for like embarrassing her, for disrespecting her, and all of those things. And I could hear my pastor in the background. He said, "Who is that? Sister Fee? She up there apologizing." Because that's just who the person I was. Like, she's apologizing. Tell her just forget about it. It's okay. They forgave me, but I can still remember the faces of her girls when I did what I did. I still can remember to this day. And although we had, we cultivated great relationships, eventually, a lot of times people don't realize how you affect children when their parents are in leadership. And I think we are so selfish that we just think about what we want and what we need, that we don't even concern ourselves with, I want to say, the pressures that the children have, because I believe it's pressure to stay on the right road. It's pressure not to say anything. It's, because of the standard you have to uphold as the pastor's child, or the children. So I wanted to speak to you about that. Have you ever experienced where you watch things happen and you be like, you within yourself, you're trying to get yourself together because you're watching these things be done to your parents?
Oh, absolutely. Time and time and time and time and time again. I mean, when you're younger, you don't know how to keep your composure. And as you said, your former first lady's children were older. So that's probably how they knew how to keep their composure and hold their tongue. But that is definitely something that you learn. Something that I think I've kind of gotten to the point of now, obviously, of course, in front of people. Like, I know how to keep my face together, my comments to a minimum. But as soon as we get in that house, I'll be like, now, Mom, did you see that? But what you gonna do about that? I said, no, if I talk to you like that, you doing X, Y, and Z. So you gonna let them? So I think that's true 100%. I don't think people think about it at all.
And I think you make a good point, because what you said is funny, but it's true. Because like my children be like, Ma, like, because they know I knock their head off, I'll, set them straight, all of that. And they be like, well, Mom, why did you let that happen? And sometimes a child cannot understand the dynamics of ministry. It's not that you are harder on them or you're soft on the other people. It's two different roles. Absolutely. Different roles.
With a shepherd's heart at church. Then at home, it's spare the rod, spoil the child. So you can't compare the two. And I think that's where a lot of people probably have the most struggle with, especially in like family and ministry, with children and adults, differentiating the two roles and not bringing them home with you, and then not bringing the mother role to church. It's something that I think a lot of families, a lot of first families at least, are still trying to figure out.
And I think that's good what you said, because you said with yourself, like you have to, not just with the people, but you have to be able to differentiate. I always say that word wrong. Differentiate between my mom and my pastor. Like, how does that work? Like,
I'm still learning.
Yeah, because sometimes my daughter, when she come to talk to me, she be like, I don't want to talk to Apostle. I want to talk to my mother, like that. I want to talk to my mother.
I say the same thing.
And then there are times where I have to tell my daughter, like, I'm going to tell you what thus saith the Lord. And I can't give you no sugar-coated answer, And though I love you, I care for you, I'll do anything for you, I'm going to tell you the truth. You know what I'm saying? So that's, how do you deal with those dynamics of my mommy and pastor?
I think it definitely differs between situations. Like every situation will be different, but I think the common theme is definitely intentionality. Like you have to be intentional. Good. Like even with your mindset, like, okay, I can't think about it this way right now. Especially like I'm also a leader in the ministry. So I have to, like, if I go back and forth with her at home about something that I may, believe or think or whatever the case may be. But at church, she's the pastor. What she says goes. So she say this is what it is. I can't go back and forth. I really can't go back and forth as a child either, but there's a lot more leeway. And then there's that different responsibility and mandate of this is God's house. This is not even just her house.
That's right.
I think that's when you start to like really take that responsibility and understand it more is when you come to the realization like this is God's servant.
Yeah.
This is God's manservant. This is God's church.
Yeah.
So how you approach it is going to be out of respect and out of reverence for
God. It's that reverence, yes.
Even though it should be still the same
way. No, I get what you're saying.
And honor your mother and your father, but that's probably how I, compartmentalize the difference between the two. It's just like, okay, this is God's house. She may not, even the decisions she make are not hers. So I can't come to her.
That's good.
Like she's making a decision. I have to come to her like this is what God said.
Yeah.
So that's how I kind of do it. But it's still hard. I'm not gonna lie. It's still hard.
Yeah. And your dynamics of how you come to church is kind of different because you have a pastor. Yours is funny. You have the lead pastor, then you have a grandmother.
It's like I'm getting hit on every side.
Yes, you have a grandmother that is the associate pastor, right?
Yeah.
And then you have now a fiance that is the executive pastor. So
I think I was the perfect one for this conversation.
Perfect person for this conversation. So now you're dealing with that there and the dynamics of your personal business at home because they are so many different relationships that you have to juggle, reminding yourself that
constantly
that's not my fiance when I'm at Freedom. That's my pastor.
Yeah.
And that's not my grandmother at Freedom. That's my pastor. And that's not my mom. That's my pastor.
Yeah.
How you juggle how you keep your feelings together.
Oh. Do I?
Do you keep your feelings together?
I'm not gonna lie. There's some days that I don't, and these eyes get to rolling, and I'll be like, twitching my lip, like, okay, pastor, okay.
Because how do you deal with knowing all of the personal business? Like,
it takes grace.
Yes, that's
grace.
Good. Yeah.
That's probably another big thing. It's just like, that's why I always say, like, family and ministry is not for the weak.
It's not.
You have to watch these people be their real selves.
Yeah.
You have to watch them be their authentic selves with their mistakes.
Yeah.
Their sins, all of it, and then still have to honor them in the place that God has them. Now, when you have your sheep, they don't know what you go through on a day to day. It's easy for them, they don't have nothing to put behind them. But it's just like, if you don't have the concept of the grace of God and forgiveness, and that, like, at the end of the day, we're no different from each other.
Yeah.
You're still a person. Yes, you have a responsibility and a mandate, but you are still a human. And
to the point you're making, which is really, really good, how does it make you feel to see your mom labor for people and, like, really, you see it, like, you see, well, you probably not always there, but the time she's in prayer. I can hear it from my room. Yes, the preparation. You know all the work that's put in. And when it's time to bless the pastor, people got a problem with giving $2. How do you resolve that? Like, I'm not
right. I stay out of it. I have to.
Yeah.
I have to stay out of it, or else you get involved, and then they start looking at the people a different way. But
that's true.
If you don't know,
you
can't say anything. That's why I make it my business to mind my business.
That's
and
good.
Stay in my place, and I don't want to know what everybody got going on because I don't want to be in my feelings. Because at the end of the day, we all do. When you have a small church and you guys are growing, everybody's in ministry together. Everybody's on 5 teams at once. So I try to stay out of it. So I don't know. The less I know,
the better it is.
The better it is. But You're gonna get that.
You're
gonna get that. You're gonna always have those few people. Now, I must say about our church, they love their pastor.
Good.
So you have those moments of like the disrespect towards the pastor. Now that's gonna come no matter what, and you have to hold your tongue. Because that's for them to deal with, and not us. It's hard to watch. It's hard to see. You may talk about it at home, but in the moment, you kind of got to show face, really.
And I think that's what people don't understand, that it's hard to watch and hard to see your parents be disrespected. There are times where, my husband and I, we make a practice to not involve our children in anything. We don't say nothing. They don't know nothing. And sometimes they are made aware through people. So there are times where our children will call us and be like, are they talking about you? Are they saying this about you? And they know that even though they're asking the question, they're not going to get an answer. They know that, because it's important to us that this is what a lot of people don't understand too. It's our job for our children to just still see you the way they should see you, rather than how you're treating us, And so they don't understand that a lot of times it makes our job more work to cover people that will out you, or that will stain you, or make you look bad. And that's why there are times where some of my children say, I could never do this. I could never be, I could never be, around this. I could never tolerate some of these things, knowing what their parents put in. When you see your mom, the sacrifices she makes, do you admire her more?
Oh, absolutely.
Or do you think she's crazy? Because some of my children think I'm crazy, and some children admire me more.
Both is like, nah, Ma, you went too far with that one. Like, dial it back a little bit. And then other times, it's like, that woman has the biggest heart, like, in the world. I always say, like, I wish I could have half the
heart that she does.
That she does. And I'm pretty close. She's definitely given us that. So it's like both. Some of them, sometimes it's like, okay, Ma, dial it back. You don't have to do all of that. Because sometimes she just can't help herself to give all of herself. So it, like you said too, it's hurtful sometimes when you see that the sacrifice is taken for granted. Because she does go above and beyond for every single person.
And what about the times that is taken from you to do for others?
Oh, yes.
And a lot of times people don't even recognize that, even the family sacrifice.
I think that's what people really, really don't recognize, the family sacrifice. Like, if you want to meet with her at 9 o'clock, that's time she gets home from work. Like, that's her time to be with her family, but that's the time that she's spending with the church or in meetings. So I don't think a lot of people think about that at all. Like the sacrifice that the family makes, literally having to share who's their mother and their father with a whole congregation of people. That's very demanding on a day-to-day, whether it's phone calls, whether it's home visits, whether it's meetings, whether it's church services. If you have a parent who's a preacher and on the go and on ministry. So it sacrifices a lot.
And I don't think people recognize the sacrifice of the family. They go without so that you can have.
Absolutely.
And like you said, to see I'm not going to clump everybody in, and I'm not going to say this is a all the time thing, but just the little bit that is shown, that the disrespect or the unappreciation is a lot for when you are dealing with not just one person, but you're dealing with many people and their families. People don't get that. And so in ministry, is there any time that you can see yourself branching off from what you have being given deposit by your pastor?
What do you mean? Like leaving the church?
Yeah.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
I definitely plan on leaving New Jersey.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
that would definitely mean branching off. But as long as I'm in New Jersey, I can't.
You'll be with your mom.
I don't see I'll definitely be with my mom. I don't see myself being anywhere else, especially in Jersey. And I love what we do. I love that we get to do it together. Now, my answer about a few years ago would have been like, get me out of here. It would have been like, get me out of here. But that's because we struggled for a long time finding that family and church balance. But I definitely think my family, we're getting it.
Yeah.
We definitely realize what happens when you go without the balance.
Yes.
And so.
And do you believe you guys are growing together?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
because I look at your mom and I look at her life and it's not a different time that I see her that I don't see growth.
Yeah.
Like she is absolutely growing before everyone's eyes.
Yeah.
And you could see the difference between the ministry of yesterday to today.
100%.
Yeah. And you can see it in all of you. But I know that nothing works by yourself. You cannot be an island by yourself, and you have to have not just commonality, but you have to have the same mindset about things. How important it is for a child to be aligned with a parent's assignment as long as they are there with their parent. Because I have seen some, parents have to focus on the sins of their child, or focus on the I don't want to's, in the ministry, while you are trying to help other people grow. Your children are lacking in growth.
Yeah, I think it hurts. I think it hurts those parents who experience that, and I'm sure my mom has felt that way.
Yeah.
With all of us at one point, because we are still all human. We're growing young women. Yeah. So we've gone through so many different things in different points of our lives where she felt like, I'm helping this person, and sometimes your mother can't help you. Yeah. Like there are so many times where I went through things that I had to figure out on my own. And she had to sit back and watch and swallow the fact that I can't help her through this, that she has to get there on her own. And I think that comes from just the understanding of, like, at the end of the day, God gave me these children to steward, but they're still his at the end of the day.
And it's their responsibility to grow. We
still have a will.
Yeah, that's right. It's their, because I was going to ask you that. I was going to ask you, how much responsibility do you believe you have to grow? Like, you can't just sit there and be like, this is great, this is wonderful. But you do have a responsibility to grow in the things that God, not just in her ministry that God gave her, but also in the things of God that he called you to.
Absolutely. I feel like after you turn 18, the responsibility is all on you.
Yeah.
100%. It's all on me. Now, as my pastor too, because then she's my pastor too. Yeah. So then a portion of that is her responsibility for her sheep to grow, and as she grows, we grow. Yeah. But other than that, I think I think a lot of pastors' children probably struggle with that dynamic of, like, I know where God is calling me, but I know where my parents may want me. Yeah, so that's like there's some contention. That could be a struggle sometimes too. Absolutely, because it's just like, you can't be so loyal to the ones around you, family or not, that you're disloyal to the plan of God for your life. Absolutely. So it's hard to figure out, but you have to be loyal to the things of God. To the things of God first, no matter what that looks like. Yeah. If that looks like you going across the country for 6 months, if that's what he has for you to do, then you have to. But just make sure that is God. We're going to be crawling back home like, hey, Mom.
What about the pressures of growth? And what I mean by that is, you're like a fishbowl in the ministry. Everybody's watching your life. Yeah. So what about the issues or the things that you make in public, the mistakes you make in public. How do you deal with those things? Because like you said, we're not perfect. We're human. We're gonna make mistakes.
Yeah.
And so how do you live with the disappointment of a pastor's kid? Because a lot of times people contribute to what a child does on their parents.
Yeah.
Especially if they're a pastor.
Yeah.
So if you're a drunk, you getting high, you prostituting, you cussing, whatever you do, it's a reflection of your parents.
Yeah.
How is that pressure, that trying to stay on the straight and narrow and trying to keep your hands clean, what that pressure look like?
Oh, I think for everyone that pressure is different. And the biggest reason for that, I would say, is because everyone has their own life that they choose.
Yeah.
For me, my story was a little bit different. I wasn't the PK who ran wild and, tried everything and then came back. God kind of caught me at such a young age. So it wasn't my desire to be out there. I just didn't want to. It was my desire to have a relationship with Christ, and that's what you need. You can't put on the pressure of a pastor's kid more than you put on the pressure of I'm a son, I'm a daughter of God.
Yes.
So when you do that, you're 9 times out of 10 gonna fall, gonna fail.
Yeah.
But I would say just being real.
Yeah. No.
And being authentic. Like even as a worship leader in our church, like I don't give my team the room to think I'm perfect.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I'm gonna fail you, and that's something that I've also learned from Pastor T. It's just like, I'm gonna fail you, I'm going to disappoint you. I think because that's another thing pastors' kids have to deal with, the disappointments that their parents cause, and then have to see them be the hero to other people.
Wow.
That's another thing that you have to deal with. And so once you come to the realization that you're human, you're going to fail me, you're going to disappoint me, you're going to do something that I don't like, you're going to do something that hurts me at some point in our lives, sometimes multiple times throughout our lives. So when you understand that fact, like, I'm not perfect. And I want you to know that I'm not perfect.
I want you to
when I mess up, I'm going to apologize, but I'm going to tell you now. That time will come where I may disappoint you, but I hope you show me the same grace that I show you.
Yes, I think it was perfectly said, what you said. Because when you don't walk around with a mask on, or you feel the need to pretend, or you got to live up to the standard of the people comes. Or the expectation, that's where the pressure comes, because you're trying to live up to their standards. And I like what you said, that it's more important what you are to God and who you are to God, rather than you trying to stand on the pressures of being a preacher's kid. You know, that is powerful. And that's something that can really truly help somebody. And even though I like also what you said, even though your parents may have expectation of you, that expectation shouldn't be greater than what God expects of you.
Exactly.
Developing your relationship with God is the most important thing that you can ever do, so you don't have to put on a performance or a show for anybody.
Exactly. And then that's when you have people who are living 2 different lives.
Yes.
Because they're trying to keep up with both, driving themselves crazy.
And how many times have we seen that in the church, that
over
people,
and over again,
live 2 different lives? I have even seen preachers' kids be gay. I have seen preachers' kids, be so many other different things. And people don't understand sometimes. It's best that I'm just going to use gay, for example, because it could be anything, but it's best that they do come out than to pretend. You understand what I'm saying? So we know where things stand, so you can get the help that is necessary, so that just like they need deliverance from this, they might need deliverance from that. No one's perfect. Everybody's dealing with
and that
something.
Pressure causes people, like someone who, like you said, is dealing with addiction or homosexuality or lying or whatever the case may be, procrastination, slothfulness, anything from the biggest to the smallest. when they have that pressure, they have to handle it in silence.
Yeah.
They have to handle it alone.
Yeah.
That's when you see all these pastors and ministers going through depression, committing suicide out of nowhere because they have this life behind closed doors that is like eating them alive.
And it's so unfair to put a people or a person in a box, if you will, to be a certain way when you yourself can be however you desire to be. It's so unfair. Like, you know, if you can stand before God with clean hands and a clean heart, that's what matters. With a pure heart, that's what matters. You understand what I'm saying? And so I think sometimes the issue is not always the people, but the pressure of the leader on their children to be a certain way. And one thing that Bishop and I have established with our children is that, listen, don't you put on no facade for us. Don't you fake for the people. Be who you are, and we'll let you know what we don't like. When you need to come to us, you come and tell us. Don't be letting us find out stuff from all these other people and all it, you know, all of these things, because this ain't no show. This ain't no act. This is none of that. Just like we're helping people to get delivered, if we so need to help you get delivered, then we can't do it with you acting. You know, and if we're not the ones that God select to help you be delivered, then we can send you to someone, or you can feel free to go to someone without any shame, because you are apostle's daughter or you are bishop's daughter. Some people hide because I am their daughter. You know what I mean? And
that's why it's so important, like for people to make sure that others feel safe around them. We talk about parents and children. It's so important that children feel safe with their parents. That you don't, you know, beat them down with judgment and condemnation. That now they too scared.
They don't want to say nothing to you. They won't even be honest with you. You know, and it is possible that people might accuse us of being too loose, but I'd rather you be what you are than sit here and fake and you miss heaven. I rather let you be what you. I recently had a conversation with my middle child, and she shared something with me, and I said, listen, you know what your mother's about. You know, I'm about all things God. I don't compromise even for my child. I'm telling you, I cannot support you in this because this is not God. It doesn't mean that I'm not going to be there for you. It doesn't mean that I don't love you, but you know better. You know, just like you know better, you know? And so those are, that's the relationship that help cultivates a preacher's child. So I don't want to just hold it to people, but I think as a leader, we have a responsibility to our children as well. That we don't always give to our children because we have there's a image that we want to uphold, and our children suffer in the end because of it.
And I think sometimes all the church hype is so easy for people to get, especially when you put in your all into building a ministry, sacrifice financially, emotionally, spiritually, physically. It's like, listen, I work for this. You going tighten up.
You ain't gonna mess this up.
Exactly. That pressure too, especially in this day and age. You got these mega churches and everybody's getting famous, and you know they're building this status, and that's so important to them. So that adds to the pressure even more. But it's the responsibility of the parents, I believe, too, is to make sure your children feel safe around you. And make sure that they're your first ministry. And that your image, is not more important than your children. Exactly. Yeah, I agree. This was a good conversation. This was a good, I think you are so helpful in that area. But before we go, I want to just challenge you. Okay. I just want to challenge you. Are you prepared for, because your role is going to kind of shift in when you get married. Oh, yeah. Your role is going to kind of shift. And not that because your husband is not the lead pastor of the church, but
I'll say like you'll be the second lady, kind of like, because he is a pastor of the church, and there is a way that you should conduct yourself as the pastor's wife, okay? As the
so they say.
Yes, so they say. So how are you trying to embrace that? Because that's a whole nother.
That is a whole.
That's a whole nother beast. That's a whole nother beast. And Lord knows it when and if God calls him to do ministry on his own, how that's going to be, because it's a lot to be a first lady. It really is. It is. Yeah.
So for me, I've always said I hate the whole. I'm not gonna say hate, but I understand what you mean. I don't get with the whole first lady thing.
Yeah, so I was never a first lady.
Even after we say I do, I'm still gonna be in my jeans and my sneakers on a Sunday morning, reading praise and worship. So I think
y'all remember this, okay? I bet I see you with no hat, tilted on black.
Jada. Oh, absolutely not. Not over here. Not over here, Apostle. So I would say the main thing that is just staying true to myself.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you.
Because in my book, obviously, there's a way that a woman should conduct herself in the church, period.
Yeah.
How you should show up to the house of God, all of that. Whether you're at work, school, wherever, there's a way that you conduct yourself as a Christian, as a believer. But I'm just gonna try to stay true to myself,
and I think
as I possibly
that's
can.
the best advice you could give yourself, because then if not, you're gonna put a pressure on you to meet other people's standards that will make you most miserable.
Absolutely.
You hear me? Most miserable.
Yeah. And I've heard so many first lady stories. That sit down, be quiet.
Yeah.
We already know. Me and Pastor T already know that's just not it for us. So I think that's why it's not such a burden to me. Yeah. Because we both have that understanding that even when he does go into ministry and move on maybe to his own church, one day where he will be the senior pastor, Freedom opens up another location. We never know what God has
going to do.
But we understand the foundation is that at the end of the day, we will be doing ministry together. Yes. It's not going to be I'm the face of this. She's going to sit back. We know that we both have assignments and mantles on our lives to lead. So I think that's what makes it that much easier.
So y'all have an understanding. Yeah. Don't let no one come in between the understanding with their religious rhetoric. Okay? You heard it from Apostle first. Listen, Jada, thank you for coming on the show.
Absolutely.
I'm so thankful for you coming and you sharing. Oh, you was the right choice. You really was the right choice. Again, thank you. Thank you everyone for joining us on this session of Roots and Revelations. Listen, we got a pre-K, what is it? A PK kid that's really living righteous. Yes. All right. Till the next time. See you later. Thank you for watching and being a part of the conversation. This content isn't meant to be kept. It's meant to be shared. So subscribe to this channel and share it. Post a link on your social media platforms. And if you haven't caught last season yet, take some time to watch. It's all there for you. Listen, community starts with connection, and I'd love for you to be a part of it. So follow me on all platforms so we can stay connected. Until next time, this is your host, Apostle Felicia Berry of Roots and Revelation. I want to live